Imagine a continent where celebration isn't just an event, it's a way of life, where drums speak ancient languages, where Bodhis become storytellers, where entire nations stop to honor what truly matters. From the sweeping Sahara to the lush equatorial forests, from ancient kingdoms to modern nations, Africa celebrates life with an intensity and authenticity that will leave you breathless. Today, I'm taking you on an extraordinary journey across the entire African continent, revealing the most spectacular, meaningful, and utterly captivating festivals you've never heard of. This is Hidden Africa, where we reveal the celebrations that define the soul of a continent. Africa, the birthplace of humanity, and perhaps the birthplace of celebration itself, across 54 countries and thousands of distinct ethnic groups. African festivals represent humanity's oldest continuous cultural traditions. These aren't commercialized tourist attractions packaged for Instagram. These are living traditions, some dating back thousands of years, that connect modern Africa to ancestral wisdom, spiritual beliefs, and communal values that cities worldwide have forgotten. African festivals serve profound purposes beyond entertainment. They mark agricultural cycles crucial for survival. They initiate young people into adulthood. They honor ancestors who guide the living. They resolve conflicts and strengthen social bonds. They connect humans to the natural and spiritual worlds. In the next 15 minutes, we'll journey from North Africa's Mediterranean shores to Southern Africa's dramatic landscapes. We'll experience harvest celebrations, spiritual ceremonies, cultural carnivals, and rites of passage. We'll witness how Africa celebrates life, death, rebirth, and everything in between. So, subscribe to Hidden Africa, hit that notification bell, and prepare for the most colorful journey you've ever taken, all without leaving your seat. We begin in Ethiopia, one of the world's oldest Christian nations. During Timkat, the Epiphany celebration that transforms entire cities into rivers of white-robed pilgrims. Every January, Ethiopians commemorate Jesus Christ's baptism in spectacular fashion. Priests remove sacred replicas of the Ark of the Covenant from churches, process the water bodies, and bless the waters. Hundreds of thousands plunge into these blessed waters for spiritual renewal. But Timkat is more than religious observance. It's communal celebration. Families feast together. Traditional coffee ceremonies last hours. Strangers become friends. For 3 days, Ethiopian cities pulse with spiritual devotion and joyous unity. Traveling west to Morocco's Atlantic coast, the Nawa World Music Festival in Eswatini represents Africa's fusion of tradition and modernity. Nawa music descends from West African slaves who brought spiritual practices mixing Islam with sub-Saharan traditions. The three-stringed Gwimbri metal castanets called krakobs and hypnotic rhythms create trance-inducing soundscapes. Today, this festival brings together Nawi masters and international artists. Jazz, blues, reggae, and world music collide in performances witnessed by 500,000 attendees. Ancient African rhythms meet global sounds, proving African culture's timeless relevance. In southwestern Nigeria, the Osana-Sogbo Festival honors Osan, the Yoruba goddess of fertility, beauty, and fresh water. This UNESCO World Heritage celebration draws both traditional worshippers and diaspora Africans reconnecting with ancestral spirituality. For 2 weeks, Osogbo transforms. The Yorùbá, a virgin girl, carries calabash containing sacred items on her head, walking from palace to sacred grove without using her hands, accompanied by priestesses, chiefs, and thousands of devotees. At the sacred Osun River, devotees make offerings, asking for children, prosperity, healing, guidance. Priests perform divination using ancient systems. The spiritual and physical worlds merge completely. Beyond spirituality, Osana-Sogbo showcases Yoruba cultural excellence. Traditional drummers, dancers, and spectacular regalia artisans displaying centuries-old crafts. This is African culture in its full glory. Every 2 years, Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, becomes Africa's Hollywood during FESPACO, the continent's largest and most prestigious film festival. Founded in 1969, FESPACO champions African cinema. While global media often portrays Africa through narrow lenses, FESPACO presents African stories told by African filmmakers for African and global audiences. Over 1 week, filmmakers from across Africa and its diaspora showcase features, documentaries, and shorts. The coveted Golden Stallion Award can launch careers and change African cinema's trajectory. FESPACO proves what we at Hidden Africa know deeply. Africans are not merely subjects to be filmed, but master storytellers shaping global narratives. Among the Krobo people of Ghana, the Depot Festival marks girls' transition to womanhood through elaborate rites of passage spanning several days. Selected teenage girls undergo traditional education about womanhood, marriage, childbearing, and community responsibility that adorned with special beads worth small fortunes, family heirlooms passed through generations. The festival climaxes with public presentation. Girls, now women, parade before communities in stunning traditional attire. This moment says, "Our daughters are ready. Our culture continues. Our traditions survive." In rapidly modernizing Africa, Depot represents commitment to cultural preservation, ensuring young people remain rooted in identity even as they navigate contemporary life. In Douala, Cameroon, the Ngondo Festival celebrates the Sawa people's relationship with water, source of life, highway of trade, connection to ancestors. Ngondo begins with sacred rituals. A chief descends into the Wari River to commune with water spirits, called Jengu. He returns bearing messages about the coming year, predictions about harvests, health, and community fortune. Then celebration erupts. Traditional Kanuras showcase maritime skills inherited from trading ancestors, swimming competitions, fishing contests, water sports, all honoring the river that sustains communities. Shoreside cultural performances. Dazzle, the Ambasquan dance, performed only during Ngondo, tells stories of water spirits. Traditional costumes worth thousands of dollars reflect ancestral prestige and family heritage. On the pristine shores of Lake Malawi, the Lake of Stars Festival represents modern African celebration, a 3-day music and arts festival attracting international attention while showcasing African talent. African musicians share stages with international acts. Afrobeat, hip-hop, reggae, electronic music, and traditional sounds create sonic landscapes reflecting contemporary African identity rooted in tradition, embracing global influences. Beyond Music, Lake of Stars features art installations, cultural workshops, environmental activism, and beach camping. Young Africans and global visitors unite in celebration that's simultaneously African and universal. This festival embodies Africa's future, proud of heritage, confident in creativity, connected to the world. Across Kenya and Tanzania, the Maasai Olympics transforms ancient warrior traditions into modern conservation celebration. Traditionally, young Maasai men proved manhood by hunting lions, a practice threatening both lions and humans. The Maasai Olympics channels this warrior spirit into athletic competition. Warriors compete in track events, javelin throwing, and traditional high jumping. Winners receive livestock, scholarships, and community recognition, proving courage without killing endangered lions. The event celebrates Maasai culture while promoting coexistence with wildlife. Traditional songs, dances, and ceremonies accompany competitions. Conservation meets culture in powerful synthesis. Its innovation, honoring tradition, the African way of adapting while remaining rooted in Zanzibar's historic stone town. ZIFF, the Zanzibar International Film Festival, celebrates East African arts across film, music, and culture. ZIFF specializes in films from Dhow countries, nations connected by historic Indian Ocean trade routes. Films from East Africa, The Middle East, South Asia, and island nations share stories of cultural exchange and shared heritage. Uniquely, ZIF brings cinema to remote villages. Traveling projectionists screen films in areas without electricity, using generators or solar power. Children who've never seen cinema experience stories from across the world. Accompanying the film festival, Soti Zabusara Music Festival showcases East African musical talent, tarab, bongo, flava, traditional drumming, and contemporary fusion sounds fill stone towns, ancient streets. Iricha, celebrated by the Oromo people, Ethiopia's largest ethnic group, is among Africa's biggest festivals, drawing millions to sacred lakes in Thanksgiving celebrations. Every September, October, Oromos travel to sacred water bodies, particularly Lake Hora near Bish. They come offering thanks to Waka God for blessings, praying for peace, prosperity, and rain. Pilgrims carry fresh grass and flowers, wading into sacred waters to perform blessings. Families reunite, communities reconcile conflicts. Traditional leaders offer prayers in indigenous Oromo spirituality predating Christianity and Islam. Iricha represents religious freedom, cultural identity, and the Oromo people's resilience despite historical marginalization. Its celebration as political statement and spiritual renewal. In the Kingdom of Eswatini, the Reed dance ceremony presents one of Africa's most visually stunning cultural celebrations. Tens of thousands of young women honoring the Queen Mother. Young, unmarried women traveled to riverbanks to cut tall reeds. Over several days, they journeyed to the royal palace carrying reeds that will repair the Queen Mother's residence. A symbolic act protecting the nation's matriarchal figure. At the palace, maidens present wreaths to the Queen Mother, then perform traditional dances before royalty and massive crowds. They wear minimal traditional attire, colorful beads, and ceremonial decorations representing different regions and families. Reed dance celebrates femininity, chastity, and cultural unity. While controversial globally, participants defend it as cultural pride and identity affirmation in a rapidly westernizing world. Cape Town's International Jazz Festival, nicknamed Africa's grandest gathering, attracts 37,000 attendees annually for 2 nights of world-class musical performances. While centered on jazz, the festival embraces musical diversity. African jazz, soul, R&B, hip-hop, reggae, and more. Legendary international artists share billing with emerging African talents. The festival's heart beats beyond main stages. Free community concerts bring music to Cape Town's townships, where economic barriers typically prevent attendance. Music becomes democratized, accessible to all. In post-apartheid South Africa, this festival represents reconciliation through culture, all races, classes, and nationalities united by music's universal language. At the House on Fire, an extraordinary cultural venue in Eswatini's Malkarns Valley. Bushfire Festival celebrates Southern African creativity across music, art, and activism. Bushfire showcases everything African creativity offers. Hip-hop artists rap in indigenous languages. Traditional dancers collaborate with electronic musicians. Spoken word poets address social issues. Visual artists create installations challenging perspectives. Beyond entertainment, bushfire champions social causes, human rights, environmental conservation, youth empowerment, and cultural preservation. Art becomes activism. Celebration becomes catalyst for change. The Marula Festival celebrates the marula tree and the traditional beer brewed from its fruit, a ceremony connecting communities to nature's seasonal gifts. Women harvest marula fruit, brew traditional beer through fermentation processes passed through generations. This beer plays crucial roles in ceremonies, social gatherings, and cultural rituals. The festival brings communities together in thanksgiving for nature's provision. Traditional songs honor the marula tree. Dances celebrate harvest. Elders share wisdom about environmental stewardship and sustainable use. Among the Wodaabe people nomadic, Fulani herders of Chad and Niger, the Gerewol festival flips gender expectations in spectacular fashion. Young men become the beautified. They spend hours applying elaborate makeup, white and red patterns, black lipstick and eyeliner, emphasizing teeth, whiteness, and eye brightness. They adorn themselves with feathers, beads, and ornate clothing. Then comes the dance hours of subtle movements, facial expressions, and charm displays. Men line up, competing for women's attention. Young women judge, selecting the most attractive, charismatic dancers. Gerewol celebrates beauty, courtship, and Wodaabe cultural values, emphasizing Puluku nobility, Munyal patience, and Semtind modesty. Its celebration respecting tradition while facilitating romantic connections across clan lines. Bozo fishermen race traditional pier fishing competitions, test skills inherited through generations. Water ceremonies honor river spirits. These activities celebrate communities whose identities intertwined with the Niger's flowing waters. On shore, West Africa's artistic heritage. Bombara Puppet Theater tells ancient stories. Masked societies perform sacred dances. Griots, traditional historians and musicians recite genealogies spanning centuries. Contemporary artists blend tradition with innovation. Rappers sample kora melodies. Modern dancers incorporate traditional movements. The festival proves African culture isn't museum piece but living, evolving phenomenon. On the Nile River's banks in Jinja, Uganda, Niger represents Africa's boldest contemporary festival, a 4-day electronic music explosion, attracting global underground music communities. Niger showcases sounds global mainstream ignores. Congolese soukous meets techno. Traditional Ugandan instruments sample into electronic beats. Experimental noise artists from across Africa push sonic boundaries. Attendees arrive from 50-plus countries. European electronic music fans dance alongside Kampala youth. Asian producers collaborate with African artists. Cultural exchange happens organically through music's universal language. Niger declares, African creativity isn't limited to traditional expressions. Africans innovate at cutting edge of global culture. After journeying across this magnificent continent, one question remains. Why do African festivals matter so profoundly? First, they preserve identity. In globalizing world threatening cultural homogenization, festivals maintain distinct African identities, languages, traditions, arts, and spiritual practices survive through celebratory transmission between generations. Second, they build community. Festivals dissolve divisions. Urban and rural, young and old, wealthy and poor, gather as equals. Social cohesion strengthens. Isolation decreases. The Ubuntu principle I am because we are comes alive. Third, they maintain spiritual connections. Festivals honor forces beyond material existence, ancestors who guide nature providing sustenance, divine powers governing life. They remind humans we're not masters, but participants in sacred existence. Fourth, they drive economies. Festivals create markets for traditional crafts, employ performers and organizers, attract tourism bringing foreign currency. Culture becomes economic asset benefiting entire communities. Finally, they inspire youth. Young Africans navigating identity between tradition and modernity find festivals offering both spaces where being African is celebrated, where heritage provides strength rather than burden. From Ethiopia's spiritual Timkat to Uganda's boundary-pushing Niger, from Mali's riverside celebrations to Eswatini's royal ceremonies. African festivals reveal a continent vibrantly alive. These aren't performances for outsiders. They're authentic expressions of what makes us human, our need for connection, meaning, beauty, and joy. They're reminders that before smartphones and social media, Humans celebrated together, and those celebrations sustained us. The drumbeats echoing across savannas and forests aren't echoes of the past. They're rhythms of the present calling toward the future, saying, "We are here." Our cultures thrive. Our celebrations continue. At Hidden Africa, we believe these celebrations deserve recognition beyond travel brochures and ethnographic studies. They deserve to be seen as the magnificent cultural achievements they are. If this journey moved you, subscribe to Hidden Africa. Hit that notification bell. Share this video with someone who needs to see Africa's true colors. Comment below. Which festival would you most want to experience? Until next time, keep celebrating, keep learning, and remember, Africa's story is humanity's story. Asante sana. Siabonga. Merci. Thank you.